Hey guys, today's Monday, May 27th, 2019. It is Memorial Day. And to all those who gave all, and to those families of those who gave all, God bless all of you. What you gave will never be forgotten. Today, we did get an assignment from my editor, and he wanted us to cover the Memorial Day ceremonies that were taking place down at the National Cemetery on Virginia Street in Mobile, what's formerly called Magnolia Cemetery. I got there, it was supposed to start at 9, but they actually said 8:30 on the press release. So I left early this morning, got there about 5 minutes to 8. Anyhow, I parked, got my equipment, and went up to where they were going to have the ceremony, and the big pedestal, and they had the chairs set up. And so I looked and asked around and how this was going to proceed, and somebody explained to me where they were going to be marching the flag in, where they're going to be having the bell ringing, where they're going to be having the wreath laying, where the 21 gun salute is, where the bugle is going to be playing. And out of all those locations, I narrowed it down to one spot in the sunshine, no shade. So I set my tripod up to record video for you guys, and I set my still camera up to take photos for the paper. And everything was all right. Well, again, this was supposed to start at 8:30, and lo and behold, at around 8:20, the TV stations started arriving with their equipment. And they didn't want to be standing in the sunshine, so they set their equipment up in the shade in front of the dais, whereas I'm at an angle over here from the dais. And then the program started. I have a lot of friends in the newspaper, magazine, and TV media as photojournalist goes. What's called the unwritten rule that you respect the other photographers' setup. For some reason, if you are not one of the TV stations, you don't get the respect that is normally afforded to photographers or photojournalists, whether you're video or whether you're still. They decided to, they marched, the Sea Cadets brought the flag in, beautiful little procession. They came down the little alley, they made a right turn in front of my camera, and then they made another left turn in front of the dais, and then they kind of rotated around with the flag. So from my point of view, I could see the speakers on the dais, the Sea Cadets with the flags, and in the background all the grave markers and the main flag that was going to be hoisted as well. So then they introduced a lady from Theodore Methodist Church, who is going to sing the national anthem. So she comes up and she starts singing the national anthem, and that's when it happened. Here, let me show you what that looks like.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming.
All right, now see, this is the thing about photographers. We all respect each other's space. We try our damnedest not to get in each other's way. And when I'm at sporting events, I'll always ask another photographer, are you good? Do you need me to move? I can move. I even ask the fans, are you good? Do you need me to move? Let me get out of your way. Just push me if I'm in your way. Hey coach, if I get in your way at all, just let me know, or just treat me like your player and push me out of the way. I'm good with that. So I don't know what they're teaching them at this TV station. It's just wrong. I don't care how you cut it, it's wrong. And I hate to preach on this, and I hate but this is part of what happened today, and I'm trying to do a vlog or a daily log of what goes on in our travels while we're working. And this was one of those things. But nevertheless, I continued doing what I was doing. But back to the Memorial Day service. It was a wonderfully done service. It was brief. Everybody was brief, spot on, and it was a great environment to be in. And here's just a little bit of what happened.
Annual Mobile Memorial Day ceremony sponsored and hosted by the South Alabama Veterans Council. If you would please rise for the presentation of colors, the national anthem, and the Pledge of Allegiance. The U.S. Naval League Sea Cadets will present the colors. And now, Miss Cindy Gartman, the worship leader at the Theodore Methodist Church, will sing the national anthem. And while she sings the national anthem, I will direct your attention also to the main flag, where the Montford Point Marines will raise and lower the main flag to half-mast.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now the 2002 Veteran of the Year, Mobile Bay Area Veteran of the Year, Sea Lord of Mobile, needs no introduction. Captain Hal Pierce will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Welcome to one of the most significant ceremonies of the year in Mobile, Alabama. Join me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Captain. Post the colors.
We strike the bell 3 times for those who gave their life in service to the United States Navy. We strike the bell 3 times for those who gave their life in service to the United States Air Force.
I was an 18-year-old kid, not having graduated from high school, when I went into the service to fight a war. Today, there are only about 4,000 of us former POWs nationwide, still around to tell our story. And that's my topic for you today, an American GI who was trained to be a combat infantryman and a liberator, but ended up having to be liberated himself. Many of you have heard my story before at past veterans events as to how I was captured at the point of a rusty bayonet the horrible train rides, including being bombed by the IRF, while locked in a boxcar, death marches across Germany, and starvation diets. Now I'd like to share with you some of the things about our daily prison life. There were many activities and situations that arose that we did in order to keep our spirits up and our depression down. Unfortunately, these were not always successful and did not work for everyone. We lost many a good man as they became sick or delirious and gave up the will to live and ended up on our boot hill. The first of these events that introduced me to prison life happened in my first prison camp, as I was being shuttled from camp to camp and further east all the time. I was housed at a Stalag 4B with a group of New Zealand prisoners who had been captured in the North Africa British campaign against Rommel. During their 3 years of captivity, they had developed a method of smuggling mail out of the camp, so in addition to giving me a crash course on how to survive as a POW, they had me and my buddy fill out 2 postcards to send home to let them know that we were prisoners of war. My folks received the first of these cards almost 5 months later, and after verification by the War Department that they were the real thing, my status changed from an MIA to a POW. 14 months later, I was already home, and our postman rang the door and handed me the second card and congratulated me on writing to myself. How these postcards got to the States is an unsolved mystery to this day. In our Red Cross parcels that we received every 3 or 4 weeks for a group of 5 men was a half-pound can of powdered milk in a tin container. From the 5,000 American POWs in this camp, there emerged engineering talent that made blowers to heat food, plates, cups, utensils of all types. And many of these items are on display at the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. Others became master chefs, and from our meager rations created mouth-watering meals for their family of 5. There were many of these family groups, and we traded amongst ourselves, and I was fortunate to be a part of one. Everyone in the group contributed. I was the trader for my group. In each Red Cross parcel, there were 5 cigarettes, and we pooled ours for trading with other groups and trading with friendly guards. Since I knew a little Yiddish, similar to German, from my grandmother who lived with us, I became the trader of our group that went to the barbed wire fence and traded for food. I was not always successful, as we had to make sure the guard was not a wounded SS soldier, because they would shoot you for no reason at all. They were mean. The main fence was 10 foot high with a 4 foot space between the next compound for the guards to walk in. 6 feet in front of this fence was a 1 foot high barbed wire, and the space was called no man's land because the guards could shoot and kill any POW that was found in that space. We traders would go out at night during air raids when the searchlights would be turned off. And on one particular night, I was out doing my thing, trying to get a loaf of bread, and not having much success in negotiating a cigarette price. Finally, we had a deal, and I handed over my cigarettes, but before I could grab the bread, the lights came on. I hightailed it over the barrier wire, running for the tent when the tower guard opened up on me with his machine gun. I didn't look back, but I still believe his slugs were at my heels. I dove into the tent, much to the wrath of the tent commanders, but more so to the guys whose cigarettes I left behind. Needless to say, from that time on, I always kept one ear opening listening to when I no longer could hear the B-17 engines. We also had a justice system. The greatest crime was stealing food from a fellow prisoner. If caught, the perpetrator was tried with a 3-judge panel of senior NCOs and a jury composed of equal rank of the accused. If found guilty, he was tossed into the latrine pit and shunned and forced to be alone, and it was a great deterrent for stealing.
I managed to get some usable footage, even though the incident with the camera, I don't even call him a journalist, he's a cameraman. Because if you're not going to respect other photographers in the journalism world, then you are not part of the photojournalism world. You are just a cameraman. Alright guys, thanks for listening. Sorry that I had to come on here and get just a little preachy, but as a photographer, just remember to respect other photographers' boundaries. If you're going to learn to be a photographer, if you want to make a living as a photographer, and if you want to be respected as a photographer, you must give the same respect back to other photographers. Alright, so that's it for today. So just remember, if I don't see you on the street or on the sidelines or in the cemetery, y'all make wise choices. Alright guys, my name's PhotO'Dell, and this has been the Backyard Vlog, and y'all thank you for coming by.